Welcome to Hello Intention, the podcast, a place where there's no judgment, no shame, and no guilt. Each episode is customized to help you discover and utilize the power of intention within while traveling along your life's journey. Let's begin to unpack all things reality. It's time to bring clarity to just how much our experiences, both past, present, and even future, shape who we are, where we stand, and how we bring forth the best version of ourselves. I'm your host, Siobhan, licensed psychotherapist dedicated to helping individuals thrive, change expert, and life strategist. Thanks for tuning in and welcome to our intentional community. Before we get started, just a quick note. Hello Intention is not intended to be a substitute for obtaining and or building a personal relationship with a licensed mental health professional. Hello everyone. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Hello Intention. I'm so happy you're here. I'd like to start today's chat with my intention for this episode. And that is to bring you a powerful and purposeful message. I'd like for this message to provide you with a way in which you're able to actually put the power of intention to work while also allowing yourself the freedom to exhale and let it, whatever that may be for you, go. We'll get into more about that momentarily. And with that, I think this is a great place for us to begin. I want us to first talk a little bit about how many of us travel through each day of our lives with some level of resistance. Resistance? Okay. Like, say what? How and what am I referring to, you may ask? Well, resistance to unpacking certain experiences, resistance to navigating the journey of healing from certain circumstances, events, hurts, resistance to being open, vulnerable, honest, etc. Even resistance to taking the next steps and believing in ourselves, right? So, resistance to giving ourselves grace because for some reason, we tend to feel as though we have to hold ourselves in this space of negative accountability, but we'll offer grace to so many others so often and honestly quite easily. We also tend to resist allowing ourselves a moment to just breathe, take a step back, even be transparent, listen to our thoughts. Why is this? Well, let's look at what is resistance. It's a pretty common word, which I'm sure we all can easily define. However, when I looked it up, I was intrigued by the Oxford language definition. That is the refusal to accept or comply with something, the attempt to prevent something by action or argument. That part. The attempt to prevent something by action or argument. For a quick moment, take a glance at how we may internally attempt to prevent certain things from occurring, be it by our actions to circumstances, to others, like really, to ourselves. How much power do you give the element of resistance? At times, I feel we also maintain this level of resistance to acceptance of ourselves in pure form. What do I mean? We have this desire, we believe this myth that we need to be more, we need to be better. And because of this, we tend to design a mask, if you will. Like a mask that we wear as we walk around. We attempt to do quote unquote our best in all these different realms of our lives, all the while that we're doing these things, we're not being attentive to our internal needs, the core. the space and place of where we learn what we desire genuinely. Sometimes we turn away from or resist that which is attempting to have a voice within us. And we try to keep going after these other things. Now, whether those other things are what we see on social media, the ideals of what someone else has placed on us, what we feel society tells us we should be aiming for, we should be achieving at some point in time in our lives, whatever it may be for you in particular, it's quite often something that never aligns with what we feel inside. And therefore, we tend to be so tight inside. Now, of course, this is figuratively speaking, right? Tight as in we're holding tension inside. Tight as in we can connect it to that level of resistance we're holding if we reflect it honestly. Like this level of resistance within ourselves. Well, in this very moment right now, can I just give you permission to exhale? Permission to breathe all of that out. Permission to walk into this next phase a different way. It doesn't matter if you don't have all the details or you don't have all the instructions. Give yourself the permission to breathe, release, and reset. Details will come. If we take inventory of the space that we're presently in, what would we find? Would it be feelings of frustration, disappointment, discouragement, or maybe optimism, hopefulness, excitement? Where am I going with all of this? Well, it's actually all part of the behind the scenes information that one needs to unpack in order to help them as they walk into that next level of purposefully setting their intentions. I think we often see or even feel many of these things at frequent junctures throughout our day to day, but we attempt to overwrite them, if you will. Well, what if instead of doing that, instead of pushing them aside, we leaned in? We took time to unpack those key indicators and connect with what it is our soul is desiring and in need of. Those feelings, these indicators can be signals of areas we need to attend to, signals of areas we need to address. And what that means is here's where we can attend to these pieces of ourselves. But what if, in fact, we're presented with unfavorable moments, right? Thoughts or outcomes? Truthfully, that may be the case during some of these times. But all is not lost, and you shouldn't avoid the process because of this. Allow me to introduce you to a practice called reframing. For brevity's sake, I won't bore you with all the cited info and background, but more of a synopsis. For context, reframing means shifting your mindset. It means that you can take a situation and look at it from a different angle, right? Change how you view it, and it can also reshape then your experience. You can take a thought or a feeling and do the same thing. Examine it from a different angle, reshape, and view it differently. Example: what is wrong with me that I cannot get past this particular thing? What if we reframe that statement? What if instead of that statement or question, we instead said, is there something here that I might need to receive, that I might need to learn or shift to assist me with processing and or moving through this particular thing? You see, understand that here I'm not ignoring whatever the circumstance or thing is that exists. I'm merely now examining a different angle of what I can receive or how I can understand this area or said thing. How maybe can I grow from this? This also provides a removal of the blame pointing fault towards oneself. I believe this process of reframing can be quite helpful in certain circumstances as it can assist in opening one's mind up to different possibilities and or solutions, right? So understand that reframing does not negate the hardship, but rather it helps us to find ways to challenge said thing and forge through. So now that we understand how we may walk with resistance on a regular basis and some reasons why, along with why we need to release and reset, as well as how to utilize reframing, let's get into 3 keys that we can utilize when looking at setting intentions and working towards the actionable process. First, I want you to ask yourself, how do I intend to show up? What can I honestly contribute in this moment, at this time? These are important questions because we want to be realistic about the energy we have to give to the intention we're setting. Remember, intentions can shift, they can grow and they scale with you. So don't be afraid to start where you are. Start where you're comfortable, where you know you're being 100% true. Got that? All right. Second, relinquish. Remember that exhale moment a little while ago? It's important in so many ways. Here, we want to use it to surrender the outcome. Be present in the now and try to let go of controlling all aspects of everything. Listen, this part I know can be difficult. I mean, I personally know it can be difficult. It's something that I work to remember each day myself. But trust me, the freedom, the clarity, the joy you receive in exchange is so worth it. Third key, we work. Understand that relinquishing doesn't mean you get a pass or days off. No, you still gotta show up. And you're showing up for someone who is extremely important, yourself. So, in this section where we work, it means that we're going to put force behind the words of our intention. We speak them, we act on them, we bring them into fruition, we work the process, but don't try to control it. So, here you have the pieces to begin the makings of some power filled intentions. But sometimes people still tell me, Siobhan, it's still hard for me to begin, for me to start this process, for me to know if I'm doing it right. And at times, it simply means that there's just a little bit of work that needs to be done, a bit more unpacking, a bit more exploration. There shouldn't be a time where you stop unpacking, you stop exploring, because each day presents different things, each day presents different experiences. And here's just another place where some work is required because events, thoughts, desires, needs, they all need to be processed. And we kind of owe it to ourselves, right? To like go along this journey so that we can be clear about how we feel and where we're headed. We can even examine where we've been, like in the last 2 or so years. There's been so many ups and so many downs, so many changes, so many adjustments. We're still in some ways trying to navigate a lot of things that may still seem for some so unfamiliar. Even though we've been here for a while, some of these things, many people just haven't gotten adjusted to. Some others have had to learn how to make adjustments to create their new story. This is a perfect place for where intentions can come in. We talked in the first episode about how people set resolutions and or goals, right? But again, I encourage you to be mindful and to set intentions. If you're not sure what that could look like, let's explore a few. Remember, intentions can and will look different, but they can begin by simply saying, today I intend to see the goodness around me. Today, I intend to feel more grounded, to feel secure, to forgive others, to forgive a particular something, to forgive myself, to be more present in the moment, to prioritize what matters most, embrace change. That's just a few. Now, of course, you can and should definitely adjust them, create different ones, right? But the key is that it should align with what you need and align with what you value. It should align with where you're looking to go. Now, something to note, these that I mentioned are a bit vague. I suggest getting specific, especially since some things take on different meanings for different people. Get specific with what your actions to accomplish your intentions will need to look like. That's where your goals will come in because they can then align and work together with your intention. Another note, when you frame your intention, frame it in the present tense. Notice that as we went through those examples, they were framed in the present tense. So just be mindful when you create your intentions to do the same. As you walk through this actionable process, it's important to create a space for your intentions. Try to remove yourself from distractions. Try to create a system around what noting your intentions might look like, whether you're going to journal them on a piece of paper or in your phone, if that's what works better for you. Meditate on them. Throughout your day, find time to reflect, take a quick glance at your intentions, even recite them to yourself aloud. And at the end of your day, look back. Reflect on your intention. Jot down what went well, what you feel really good about. Also, take note on what you might want to change or adjust for the next day or the next intention. Remember, this is a journey. And this process is one that can be a very impactful addition to aligning with the person you desire to be and will become. So let's put that power behind our decision starting today. Listen, it's been amazing talking to you about this and going over all of this information. I thank you truly for spending this time with me. I send you great, great energy, and I look forward to hearing how your intentions are helping you shift and thrive daily. So be sure to check in with me on social media, like and subscribe, and I hope to see you again. We'll chat again soon.